welcome everyone to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the twice a week sports podcast where myself, TJ, your host, and the Grumpy Old Man talk everything sports. We talk MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA Grumpy. We talk European soccer. We talk college athletics, anything and everything sports. Now, Grumpy, they say he has no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
I don't know, Grumpy. I mixed up. I did a little different intro this time. I botched the intro. What can I say?
What a shock.
What can I say? Wouldn't be a podcast without a few slip-ups early on. But for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. We invite you to stick around a while. This podcast takes place every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're new to the show, again, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter, Grump.
Yeah. Like, follow, whatever. I don't know.
Yes, like, follow, subscribe. You know how that stuff
That's
goes.
it. Yes.
And also, apparently, right, gotta leave the little like the video on YouTube and like the video, right? Apparently, it helps the algorithm. I have no idea, but that's what everybody else says. So I trust them. Today, we're going to be talking about today's action-packed podcast. Grump is going to be full of talking about the MLB All-Star game. Oof, the ratings not great. We're going to be talking about Matthew Tkachuk, the Calgary Flame, not looking to sign long-term with the Calgary Flame. So he is going to be traded and moved this offseason in all likelihood. Grump, we're also going to be talking about the massive deal Kyler Murray just signed to extend his stay with the Arizona Cardinals for another 5 years. So they're going to have him locked up until 2028. Grump, let's talk about, obviously, the biggest news story of the day, Kyler Murray's contract. Man, oh man. Want to get your take on it. Is that too much to pay a guy who's never won a playoff game?
First of all, I want to say it seems just a scant 4 months ago that he deleted the Arizona Cardinals from his, social media platform, said he didn't want to play there anymore. And then five months later, he signs a huge extension, making him the highest paid quarterback in the league, highest paid player in the league. Just interesting. Now, to be said, it's not like they ripped up the last 2 years of his rookie deal. This is an extension going forward. So
That's correct.
I guess if you look at it, if you add the last 2 years of his rookie deal and this, it seems a little bit more palatable. That said, that's an awful lot of money for somebody who's never won anything and kind of not breaks down, but kind of wears down in the second half of the season every year.
Let me ask you, if you're a Cardinals fan, are you happy or are you worried and concerned about this signing or extension?
I think you're happy because if you think about it, right, where have the Cardinals been through most of their history, right? Terrible. They had
They've had years where they've made the Super Bowl before.
Okay, 1 year where they made the Super Bowl. I was going to say that with Kurt Warner as quarterback.
Yep.
But for the most part, they've been a losing organization, losing franchise. You can't let the number one pick in the draft go. I mean, it's not like Kyler Murray's been a bust. That's just the price of doing business. I mean, that's a lot of money, but you're talking about that contract isn't even going to be kicking in for, 2 more years. So the salary cap is just only going to go through the roof. And maybe by the end, it's going to be, hey, that's a real bargain, $46 million a year.
You think that's going to be a bargain when his contract's up $46 million for Kyler Murray?
That's not what I said. I said
it could be.
That's right. I didn't say it was going to be.
Said you think. You think.
I didn't say that. I said it could be.
You think there's a possibility that's a bargain deal?
7 years from now? Maybe. I mean, the salary cap only goes up in the NFL.
Okay, just to let you know, it's not 2 years left on his rookie contract. It's 1 year. So he's got the 1 year left on his rookie contract until that next contract kicks in. His contract kicks in 2023.
He's only played 3 years, right?
His contract kicks in 2023. I'll pull it for you. Anyway, continue. Yeah, his contract's going to kick in next year. So he's going to go from making like that cap hit of 6.7. He's going to make the big bucks here starting next year.
But I think they already picked up his option. Like that, if you're a first round pick, they pick up that 5th-year option.
Okay, so here it is right here. They've got 1 year left on his contract, which is 2022 on his current contract. Then starting in 2023, he's then going to start making that big money. Yikes is all I've got to say. I'm not saying he shouldn't get paid. He should get paid. As a Cardinal fan, though, I'd be a little concerned.
What are you going to do with the quarterback position? You're just going to give up?
It kind of reminds me of Kyler Murray is not a guy who's a top 5 QB in the NFL. He's sure as hell getting paid like one. Do you think Kyler Murray's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? I don't.
He's top 10. It's the cost of doing business. What do you do? Try to nickel and dime him? You're going to try to do what the Patriots did to Brady? How's that working out for New England?
Hold on. Are you comparing Tom Brady to Kyler Murray?
I'm saying that if you want to cheap out on the quarterback position, your team's going to suck. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying you have to cheap out, but this is
what are you going to do?
This is a guy who's never won a playoff game. This is a guy who it seems like at the end of every single year, his numbers drop consistently and he struggles. This is also a guy who looked like he couldn't string together 5 passes in a row to save his life when DeAndre Hopkins wasn't in the lineup. I wonder how much of his success is tied to a fantastic top 5 wide receiver. I'm not saying, oh, you can't have a fantastic wideout on your team. Oh, if you have a good wideout, that automatically, devalues you as a quarterback. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's worth considering that. If you're a Cardinal fan, if you're the Cardinals, this is a guy who every single year, the last 6 games of the year, does not play good football. And you look at him when he didn't have DeAndre Hopkins last year, struggled mightily.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of quarterbacks do a lot more with a lot less. That's all.
He hasn't always played with DeAndre Hopkins. The kid's a talent. The issue with him is wearing down. That's it. Because he's small. He's tiny. He wears down. That's the issue. He needs to be.
He's never thrown for more than 26 passing touchdowns in a year. Let that sink in.
They play a balanced offense. How many touchdowns does he run for, though? I mean, he's a total weapon.
As a quarterback, you can't expect to be able to run for your entire career. Doesn't matter how good of a runner you are. Those hits start to compile. Doesn't matter how often you get a bounce. You occasionally take a lick or two, and that really says, I don't want to be running the football when I'm 27, 28 years old at QB.
So they found the best quarterback probably in the history of the franchise. And you're thinking they should
better than Kurt Warner. You think he's already better than Kurt Warner? Wow.
Kurt Warner played what, 2 years there? He played 2 years for the Cardinals.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you ever looked at his stats, Kyler Murray's stats? They're not great. He's never passed for more than 4,000 yards. He's never thrown for more than 26 passing touchdowns.
So what?
He's a guy who's right around 2 touchdowns and 1 interception a game.
What do you think Arizona should have done? What do you think Arizona should have done? Let him leave?
I don't know, man.
He has a 5th-year option.
They're between a rock and a hard place, in my opinion. This is not a guy who's a franchise caliber quarterback.
They'd already picked up his 5th-year option, which was not reflected in that sports track thing. They picked up his 5th-year option. He's got 2 years left and then a 5-year extension.
Can you fix your microphone? Because you've got a bunch, and every time you're moving, it's just thank you.
Yes.
But doesn't matter, Grump. They've signed him up long term. This is my point. They have signed him up long term for a guy whose track record isn't that impressive.
I think he's a good quarterback. Really good.
On the hype. I really do. I think a lot of the hype is what he gets away on.
Name 7 quarterbacks better than he is.
I can name quarterbacks
long term. I'm talking about long term.
Oh my God.
That eliminates Brady. That eliminates Rodgers. That eliminates Russell Wilson.
Okay. Rodgers, even this year, is better than Kyler Murray will ever be in his career.
I said
in his career.
Long term.
Aaron Rodgers this year at 30, however many years old, is better than Kyler Murray will ever have in one season in his career.
Is Rodgers going to be playing 7 years from now? The answer is no. Is Brady? No. Is Russell Wilson? No. So name me 5 quarterbacks better right now than Kyler Murray, and exclude those guys because they're not going to be here when this contract kicks in. Brady's gone. Russell Wilson's at the end, and so is Aaron Rodgers. I want to know 5 quarterbacks better right now in the league.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert.
Okay.
Give Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow hasn't put up any numbers any near what Murray has. Not even close.
What? Joe Burrow has thrown for more touchdowns and had more passing yards than Kyler Murray has ever in a single season.
I'm not doubting that Joe Burrow.
Deshaun Watson, with health, is a much better quarterback for long term.
Well, he hasn't played in a year and who knows how long, right?
When he's able to play, if he's able to play, he's a much better quarterback.
I just think you're selling this kid short.
Dak Prescott, I think, is a better QB than Kyler Murray.
No.
What?
No.
What?
I'm taking Murray over
Look at
Prescott.
production.
Look at the talent they have in Dallas. I'm sorry. I just think you're underselling this kid.
The talent they have in Arizona.
Okay, so
and the one time he loses one weapon, shit falls apart.
So what should Arizona have done? What should they have done?
I don't know. They're in between a rock and a hard place.
Don't know. When you get a quarterback, you don't let them go. That much I can tell you. What's their record before him? Worst team in the league, right? He comes in, they qualify for the playoffs. He's good. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback, but you don't let a quarterback go. It's not like he's a bum. You want to go back
when all is said and done, right? If you want to say who's the better for the future, when young crop of quarterbacks come underneath him, he's a guy who maybe is around the 10th best QB in the league. That's kind of where he sits.
You're dreaming. So you don't think that he's capable of improving?
You think right now today he is a top 5, top 7 quarterback in the NFL today?
Yes, I do.
If you're fielding a team for today, he's top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Okay, I don't agree with you. Sorry.
I think you're crazy.
I put Russell Wilson over him today. I put Tom Brady over him today.
How did Russell Wilson
Aaron
play
Rodgers
last year?
over him today. I put Aaron Rodgers over him today. I put maybe even Lamar Jackson over him today.
Oh my God, you're dreaming. You're dreaming.
Lamar Jackson's won an MVP. Lamar Jackson's
a runner.
4,800 yards.
He's a runner. He's a little runner. He's a little gallop boy. He can't complete a pass. He can't. You want to know how you get Baltimore in trouble? Stop him from running. Make him throw the ball. That's all you got to do to stop Baltimore. He's just not good enough. This kid is able to make plays with his arm and his legs.
Think about this.
Russell Wilson. What were Russell Wilson's numbers last year?
I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson has not thrown for more than 4,000 yards. Lamar Jackson has only thrown for 3,100 yards before in his career in one season. Lamar Jackson has also thrown for 36 passing touchdowns in a year.
I don't care. If you're asking me who would I take, Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson, I'm taking Kyler Murray every day of the week. Every day. He's only played 3 years in the league.
Okay, and Lamar Jackson played 4.
25 years old? How old is Lamar Jackson?
Played 4. What's your point? I don't know.
I think Murray is way better than Jackson. Way better. No comparison between the two because Lamar Jackson's never going to beat you throwing the ball. Murray can beat you throwing the ball, and he can run. The only knock that I have against Kyler Murray is that he gets worn down because he's small. That's it.
Okay. Think about this. The only knock I have against Kyler Murray as a 24-year-old quarterback in the prime of his career is that because he's so small, he already breaks down at game about 10 or 12 of the season. I'm worried now at the 24-year-old quarterback in the prime of his career is already breaking down. That's the only concern I have. So I'm not worried at all about maybe him possibly having injury issues down the road.
He doesn't break down.
Building a guy for the future, like you gave me the parameter.
He doesn't break down. He wears down. There's a difference. And as you get older, as he develops his man strength, he's still, look at him.
Man strength. He's 24 fucking years old. Man strength, my ass. He's in the peak physical fitness of his life.
I'm
24, 25, 26. That is the peak.
I'm going to say he's probably put on a little bit of weight from when he first came into the league. I just think you're really undervaluing this kid. I don't understand why. And what should Arizona have done? Just say, well, you know what? We had him for 5 years. Let him go. Let's start over. No, you get yourself a good quarterback. You never let them go, ever. Never freaking ever.
He's a guy who is an above average QB. I think he lives a lot based off of the hype. Excuse my language. I think he lives a lot. He lives on the hype. That's where he is. He resides on the hype. That's it.
Yeah, I disagree with you there. I don't even know what you're even talking about. It must be from another planet. The fact you would take Lamar Jackson over Kyler Murray. I mean, I think you used to play football, right? Did you ever look at the guys who were taking the snaps?
Right now, you said if I'm picking a team right now, Lamar Jackson's legs right now work very well. They will not work very well in 3-4 years' time.
How many playoff games has Lamar Jackson won?
I would take 10 quarterbacks. 10 quarterbacks I would take right now over Kyler Murray. I played your little hypothetical, let's go ahead and let's look down the future. Then I played the let's look at the now. And he's not a guy who's a top 10 quarterback right now.
Name the 10. I'm dying to hear the 10. I'm dying to hear the 10.
Christ, Grumpy. Russell Wilson.
Wilson, what were his numbers last year? He was miserable last year, and you're taking him at 35 years old?
Russell Wilson played on a miserable, and I mean miserable Seattle Seahawks that had no blocking at all. I take Russell Wilson over Kyler Murray.
Not me.
Russell Wilson. Was that
not me? He's 35. You're taking him over? Okay. Russell Wilson.
Right now for this one season. Holy shit. Is that what the game we're playing?
Here's the thing. He performed better than Russell Wilson last year. Next.
What were Russell Wilson's numbers?
Bad. I don't even think he threw 3,000 yards last year.
Bad. Okay. Russell Wilson's bad numbers were 3,100 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. More touchdowns, less interceptions on an inferior team, on a miserable Seattle Seahawks team, against a team that, again, has loaded with offensive talent in Arizona. Get out of here, man.
They're not loaded with talent in Arizona.
What?
They don't have a running back.
They've got 2 very good running backs.
They have two average running backs. Average running backs. James Conner and whoever the other below average running back is. They don't have great running backs. It was Edmonds last year for a while. He's gone.
Chase Edmonds and James Conner are a good 1-2 punch.
They're average. They are average running backs.
Okay.
Average
running backs. Jesus.
James Conner took away a lot of rushing touchdowns from Kyler Murray. That's part of his appeal, too. He's able to run the ball. He's able to score touchdowns with his feet. He's really
That's why I've got Lamar Jackson over Kyler Murray for the right now, too.
But Lamar Jackson's not going to throw any passes for touchdown. Like I said, Kyler Murray competes with the end games.
In a single season than Kyler Murray ever has in a single year. What are you talking about?
Has Lamar Jackson ever won a playoff game?
Has freaking Kyler Murray ever won a playoff game? What's your point?
I'm just saying, you're speaking up Lamar Jackson. His numbers weren't as good as Kyler Murray's last year. Murray missed some games last year, too.
Lamar Jackson has won a playoff game, by the way. Has more postseason success than Kyler Murray.
Okay.
I mean, it's like we're arguing who's the better of the shitty postseason quarterbacks.
Go ahead. Man. You've named one who I've already debunked because he wasn't as good.
Okay, you've debunked him. Look.
So who else are you going to pick?
You said 10.
You said he's outside the top 10.
Arizona. I think Russell Wilson's the top 10 QB. I'm sorry you don't agree with that.
Okay, he might be a top 10 QB.
You said, he did. Arizona doesn't have weapons. Christian Kirk's he's a hell of a third wide out. You look at AJ Green's a good wide out. They had Zach Ertz, who's a good.
AJ Green was finished.
Okay,
in order for this Kirk is gone.
You got to have listen. You can't speak over every time I'm trying to get through my point.
Because you're making ridiculous points. They don't even on a team anymore.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying,
last year, you're talking about last year's stats. Christian Kirk was on that team, a good wide receiver. Played 11 games, had almost 1,000 receiving yards in 11 games played. 11 games started. Okay? So, he's a good number 3. I just said he's a good number 3 wideout. AJ Green's still a solid wideout at this point. DeAndre Hopkins, he's a top 5 wide receiver in the league when healthy. Zach Ertz is a guy who is a good receiving tight end. They had options. And even Randall Moore is a guy who came in there occasionally as good as a slot guy. They had wide receiver options in Arizona.
They were all banged up all year. All year they were banged up in their receiver core. All freaking year. All year. I mean, I'm just interested. And I'm not saying Russell Wilson's not a top 10 quarterback. I'm just saying he's not better than Kyler Murray. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to list the top 10. Here's the thing. The crazy thing about top 10 QBs, there's only 10 of them. You can't have 15 top 10 quarterbacks, man.
Let's
and that's
go.
my point. I think you do that a lot. I think Russell Wilson is a better QB than Kyler. Look at Russell Wilson is on my list. And then we'll just go down the ones that are obvious ones. Patrick Mahomes, obvious, no doubt about it. Josh Allen, obvious, no doubt about it. Aaron Rodgers, obvious, no doubt about it. Tom Brady, obvious, no doubt about it. Justin Herbert, I think that he's a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. Simple. Look at production.
I think they're very, very similar right now. Very similar.
You think Justin Herbert's production similar to Kyler Murray's production?
Yeah, I think they're very similar talent-wise. I take Justin Herbert because he's a bigger guy. I like Justin Herbert, but I think they're very similar. I'm just saying they're very similar. That's all I'm saying.
Pull up the stats here for Herbert of a very similar guy, because I don't think you've looked at Justin Herbert's stats anytime soon. He passed for 5,000 passing yards last year.
Yeah, okay, they were wide open. How many did he run for? I mean, because that's part of the package that you're talking about. You just want to say, well, running, no, that doesn't matter.
He passed for more touchdowns than Kyler Murray ran for and passed for last year. How about that? 38 passing touchdowns.
How many games did Kyler Murray play last year? Kyler Murray was hurt last year.
Okay, that's one of the points, though. He can't stay healthy because he's a frail body type, and his body breaks down at the age of 24 years old. Guess what? That affects your ranking, in my opinion. If you can't stay healthy at 24 years old because your body is too frail and can't hold up to the NFL game, that means you're a not very effective quarterback in the NFL.
You realize at the 10-game mark last year, he was the best quarterback in the league at 10 games. I just don't think that you value what he brings. That's all I'm going to say. So far now you're at 7 quarterbacks. Name another 3 better than him.
I'm at six quarterbacks. About it. Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than he is. I've taken Joe Burrow tomorrow and in the future over Kyler Murray. No,
right now he's not better than Kyler Murray. Right now he's not.
Again, have you ever looked at the stats of Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I see him throwing a lot of balls to Jamar Chase on fly patterns. That's what I see. That's when his game took off.
I saw Patrick Mahomes throw a lot of balls on fly patterns to Tyreek Hill. He's still one of the best QBs in the league.
Right now, Joe Burrow is not as good as Kyler Murray. I'm not saying he won't be. I said right now he's not.
You love Kyler Murray because he's Oklahoma.
I don't love him.
These Oklahoma quarterbacks, you just can't get over. You got to.
Oh, now it comes down to it. You don't like the Oklahoma quarterbacks.
No. You noticed you did the same thing last year. We had the same conversation last year when you were defending Baker Mayfield, calling him much better than he was. And I said, at best, he's an average QB. No, he's at least an above average quarterback. We're not following
I still think he's above average.
How did that take go? Freaking rotten milk. Okay. The same thing's going to happen with Kyler Murray. The same freaking thing.
So you're ripping Baker Mayfield, another Oklahoma quarterback, and he was hurt all year last year, playing behind that broken down Cleveland offense, and you're ripping him. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, good gracious, Crumpy. Good gracious. I'll tell you this much.
Name the rest. You got 2 more to go. Got 2 more to go.
I'm at 7. I think Dak Prescott's a better QB than Kyler Murray.
God, you're dreaming. You're dreaming.
Look at production. That's my number.
How did he gag away in the playoffs? That was a good job by him. Gag it away. Okay, there's your what?
How many postseason wins does Kyler Murray have? Yeah, thank you very much. He gags away any postseason game he's got to.
So okay, and who's number 10? You're really reaching now.
If he's able to, I'm really reaching. If he's able to play, Deshaun Watson's a million times better.
Okay, he didn't even play. You can't even include him because he didn't play. Now you're including
quarterback for next year.
Guess what? He didn't. He put 0 touchdowns last year, 0 rushes, 0 everything. You can't even count him.
If we're talking about
Johnny Unitas in there. Johnny Unitas could come back and be better.
We're talking about who we're taking this year, Grump.
Joe Montana, Peyton Manning.
This year alone, I'd take Deshaun Watson if he's able to play. He's going to be a much better producer, and he's a much better quarterback. You'll see what he does for the Cleveland Browns instead of that hack
in 8 games.
Instead of that below-average quarterback, average at best Baker Mayfield, team manager quarterback Baker Mayfield. And you're going to see here, don't worry. Guess what? You preach, I love the guys who can run the football. That really matters as a quarterback too. Well, I put Lamar Jackson as a better QB. I put Lamar Jackson as a better quarterback.
You're dreaming. Lamar Jackson's barely top 50. He's barely top 15 for me
Wow.
as
Look
a
at the
quarterback.
weapons Lamar Jackson has. Can you name the wide receiver weapons he had last year? Rashad Bateman and freaking Hollywood Brown. And he lost his 2 best running backs. They're a run and pass team. They had a good mix. They lost their 2 starting running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, before the season even started. And Hollywood Brown is a boomer bust type wideout. Rashad Bateman was injured in and out of the lineup all last year. They have no weapons in Baltimore. And Hayden Hurst is a good tight end option, but they have very limited
They
weapons.
have Mark Andrews.
I'm sorry.
It's the only guy he threw to.
Hayden Hurst went to Atlanta the year after, or last year.
I just think you're undervaluing Kyler Murray. And I just say again, what should Arizona have done? You're the man with all the answers here. Instead of telling me what they shouldn't have done, why don't you tell me what they should have done?
Looking at what Deshaun Watson just got traded for, trade that son of a bitch and load up on 4 or 5 first-round picks.
Good luck.
Is not the answer at quarterback.
He's
not the answer. He's not the answer. That's not the answer. I could tell you after 3 years of watching him, he will never win a Super Bowl. Never, ever, 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 ever in his career. Maybe as a backup. He'll never win a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback.
How many
Mark
quarterbacks
down here, guys? I feel confident saying over the next 15 years, you don't ever have to worry about Kyler Murray lifting a Lombardi trophy.
How many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls? Think about it.
You're going to make me pull that stat? How many
in the last 20 years? In the last 20 years, how many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls? 14? 13?
So even if
in other words,
even if it's 13 quarterbacks in the last 20 years, it's probably
one guy who's won 7. So it's less than that. It's probably 10. Probably 10.
It's probably 12 or 11. Because how many with Tom Brady won and Peyton Manning had many Super Bowls he won. So, I couldn't tell you how
9 many. Between the 2 of them. 9 between those 2. I'll bet you nobody else has won more than 1.
Okay, you said in the last when was Brady's first Super Bowl win?
2001.
Okay, that doesn't count. You said last 20 years.
Okay.
So that one doesn't count.
6.
Was that
6 then?
Okay. He won the year after too, didn't he?
He won in 2001, 2003, 2004,
Okay,
2014, 16, 18, and 20. Those are the years he won.
Okay.
It's hard. It's hard. Just because you don't, Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, so I guess he sucked.
Are you comparing Kyler Murray to Dan Marino?
I'm just saying that you said, well, he's never going to win a Super Bowl.
Rex Grossman also never won a Super Bowl.
A lot of quarterbacks never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the really bad, the average ones, and even
Eli freaking Manning won 2. You're trying to tell me he's great? There's another 2. Let me just throw those 2 in there.
You're talking about
the
Eli
Manning brothers had 4. So that's 10 between 3 players. 10.
Yeah. Eli Manning. Okay. Here's the other thing about Eli Manning. Kyler Murray can only dream to be as successful as Eli Manning was.
Oh, Kyler Murray is going to be infinitely more productive than
Kyler Murray has never thrown for more than 4,000 passing yards ever in his career. He's been a starting quarterback 3 years, and he's had a fantastic top 5 wide receiver there in DeAndre Hopkins. Never thrown for more than 4,000 passing yards. That doesn't say, yeah, maybe it's not passing the smell test.
You're dreaming. You're dreaming.
He's got good weapons, and he can't go ahead and throw for 4,000 passing yards. Throwing for 4,000 passing yards, there's like 12 or 13 quarterbacks who do that every single year. Throw for more than 4,000.
They run the ball a lot. You said so yourself. They run the ball quite a bit. He runs the ball quite a bit. I just think you're wildly underrating him. And again, you're just saying, I don't care who the quarterback is, 5 years. Okay, we'll move on. We're going to start over for a franchise that's been a perennial loser. I mean, an absolute freaking loser ever since their inception. Think about that. That's the way when they were the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, terrible, miserable, bad teams. They've just been freaking B-A-double-D bad forever. They finally have themselves a quarterback, and you think they should let him go. You're crazy. If you ask an Arizona Cardinal fan, which you're not, they're going to say, thank God, whoosh, we got him for another 5 years. Thank God, because we remember what it was like in this town when nobody's showing up. We remember when we were 3-12 or 3-14, 3-13 every year.
Let this sink in. Jimmy Garoppolo had more passing yards last year than Kyler Murray.
Okay, but what
Jimmy fucking Garoppolo had more passing yards last year than Kyler Murray.
okay, that's all you know what? If he played in that San Francisco offense, Kyler Murray would have had 7,000 passing yards. He throws the ball down the field. He's a down the field thrower. He's not a dink and
Shitty
dunk
ass
guy.
Mac Jones had more passing yards than Kyler Murray.
Another guy, dink and dunk, 5 yards off to the side. Let somebody earn the yards. They're all yak yards. This kid throws the ball down the field. He has the ability. He's got a cannon from an arm, and he can throw the ball down the field accurately. You probably never even seen an Arizona Cardinal game.
I have. I'm in that area. I watch them every freaking weekend because that's one of the games we get on Fox Sport. We always get the Dallas Cowboys, and we also get Arizona.
Well, you're lucky that you got to see the great Kyler Murray.
Always, Grump.
You're lucky you got to see the great Kyler Murray. That's all I got to say. You should consider yourself blessed to have seen Kyler Murray every week.
That's it.
Instead of Hack Prescott.
That's it, dude. You're right. I'm so fortunate. I will tell you this.
Good contract. I love it even more now. They should have paid him $55 million a year. It still would have been worth it.
Highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Not this year or not next year. The 5 years after that, yes. But somebody will pass him. Somebody will pass that contract.
Highest paid QB in the NFL. Just let that sink in, man.
He's not that yet.
Highest paying contract. He's signed under the future highest paying contract in the NFL. Does that make you happy or grumpy?
How many years did Watson get?
Was it 6?
Well, then Watson's making more. It's only 5 years extension.
5 years. I don't know how long Watson's contract is. Jesus.
Well, you're making these bold statements. You don't even have your facts straight.
No, you asked me. I didn't make a bold statement. I literally went 6. It wasn't
contract.
He had 6.
Only $160 million is guaranteed. How much is guaranteed on the Watson deal?
Oh, he's only got Watson signed a 5-year deal too. Watson
how much
has every penny guaranteed. Only 160 of his 230.5 million is guaranteed.
So there you go. That's a lower paying contract.
No, it's not.
It's not guaranteed. The guaranteed money is what's really getting paid. They can let him go if he's really bad.
Paid, Grump.
If he's terrible, like you said, after they pay him off his guaranteed portion, they could.
I didn't say he's terrible. Guess what? I think he's an above average quarterback who the problem I've got with Kyler Murray is simply this. His body breaks down every year. He's very frail. Do you remember when Carson Wentz was a top 5 QB in the NFL? Remember when he was having that MVP?
For 1 year.
Hold on.
Not even a whole year.
Hold on for 1 second. Do you remember when he had the MVP caliber season with the Eagles? When they were 11-1, 11-2, he had unbelievable passing yards. He was leading the NFL in passing yards, leading the NFL in passing touchdowns. He was fantastic. Whoa, he's so great. He hasn't even had one of those type of seasons yet.
Who?
Kyler Murray.
Well, Carson Wentz didn't have one of those either because he got a knee injury and that's it. This kid is still he hasn't had a season-ending injury yet. I mean, I don't understand your hatred for him. I really don't.
I don't have hatred for him. I would just be very skeptical that this is going to be a fantastic contract for them.
I'm going to say, if you ask an Arizona Cardinal fan, their opinion is going to differ for what you said. You know how tough it is? It's so tough to get a top-notch quarterback in this league. So tough. You get one, you cannot give him up. And he's certainly well above average. Well above average. Let me tell you something. This kid has the ability to be a league MVP. I'm not saying he's going to be a league MVP, but he has that ability. He has that ability. That's all I'm saying.
He played 14 games last year.
Yeah, so he missed 2 games. So maybe that's why out of 14 out of 17. So maybe that's why his numbers, that's what I'm saying. This guy threw for more yards. He played every game. You add 3 more games of his average on. He was everyone was saying after 10 weeks, he was league MVP.
Hey, Matt Flynn that year before he signed that big unrestricted free agency contract with the Seattle Seahawks only played 2 games. He threw for 400 yards in one and 500 in the other. If you average that over,
first of all, he did not. Now you're just lying right through your damn teeth. He never threw for 500 yards. Matt Flynn never threw for 500 yards in this game. Please,
800 yards. Give me a sec when I pull that up, damn it.
Give me a second. You're so ridiculous.
Oh, you know it's bad when I pull up Matt Flynn and the first thing I get is his LSU stats. Give me a sec.
Yeah, because he sucked. He parlayed 2 games into a big free agent contract. And here's the thing. What happened? They drafted Russell Wilson the same year. They drafted Russell Wilson the same year, and Wilson won the job. He got a big 5-year contract, and that didn't pan out. Yeah, what does it tell you? A guy had 2 games, and we're going to overpay because guess what? Quarterbacks are at a premium in the NFL. You get one, you don't let him go. There's no way they were going to let him go. No way.
Okay. Did he play 4? He played 4 games. Okay. He played 4 games. He started 4 games for Green Bay that year, and in 4 games, passed for 1,146 yards. Well, if he played the entire season, Grump, he would have gone ahead and put himself.
Well, you said in 2 games he threw for 900 yards, and he didn't even throw for 1,200 in 4 games. So you're just full of shit. Just admit it, and let's move on.
Well, if you went ahead and just averaged that out, 1,100 passing yards in 4 starts, Grumpy, I might even do 1,150. He'd already have 4,400 passing yards in 1 full season of football. So,
yeah, he wore down. He probably started off hot.
I guess Matt Flynn would throw for more yards if we just averaged out that year in the full season. No, you just average it out over the full year.
You are so ridiculous. This kid is the starter. Matt Flynn was never the starter. Never the freaking starter anywhere.
I am being facetious and trying to use your logic, Grump.
I'm just saying, you were saying, well, he threw for 3,100 yards this year. Well, he threw for less than that. Yeah, he missed 3 games. Like I said, I guarantee he'll have more yards
because he's always injured. He's always been battling an injured shoulder and a banged up shoulder every year.
So you can just cross out
2 in a row. He's had an injured shoulder. This year was so bad it cost him to miss time. And you don't think, oh, that could be an issue. Our 24-year-old quarterback in the prime of his career already has shoulder problems. I wonder why that is. Is that something as a quarterback, when you've got shoulder issues, is that something you start getting, man, I'm starting to feel healthier, baby. My shoulder is feeling better than ever now. At 24,
you're underestimating
shoulder issues last few years in a row.
Here's the thing.
Better.
I can't wait.
Better now.
I can't wait to drive it up your ass all year long when he performs. I can't wait because he will. He absolutely will. And you're going to hear it. You think I'm high on Brady? This kid is my new pet project just to shove it up your butt.
If he doesn't throw for more than 4,500 passing yards this next year, he's had an underwhelming season.
What are you talking about? His wide receiver core is already decimated. I don't expect him to.
They just added Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown on the Baltimore Ravens. Remember that guy who can't pass, Lamar Jackson? He was the #1 wide receiver on the Baltimore Ravens for multiple years, Grumpy. So you have now in Arizona, you've got hold on. You gotta let me talk, Grumpy, before you start interrupting. You're going to have Hollywood Brown, who's a legitimate #1 wide receiver.
Who else?
You're going to also have, when healthy, when he comes back, DeAndre Hopkins.
He's going to miss the first 6 weeks.
He's only on a 6-game suspension.
That's right.
Well, he's going to be there for 11 games. So for 11 of the 17-game regular season, you're going to have 2 #1 wide receivers. You're going to have 1 bona fide #1 wide receiver and 1 top 5 wide receiver on your team. You should be throwing for a shit ton of yards over that time period. It's kind of like the Miami Dolphins, the way they're going to be loaded up.
Again, Hopkins has been injured the last couple of years. Okay. He's in his 30s. So I'm saying he's on the downside, right? Let's be honest. He's going to miss the first 6. So let's say before he gets up to speed, it'll probably be week 8 or 9. Then you expect something from him.
Oh, it's going to, the professional like that, it's going to take him a little while to get
Hollywood Brown to me, is not a great wide receiver. He's a guy who just run down the field throwing the ball. That's all they have.
Man, I love Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson then, because if he never had a real wide receiver threat and he's done,
that's the perfect guy for Lamar Jackson, because all he does is just throw the ball down the field. He can't. Nobody run a pattern. What's a pattern? I can't anybody on a pattern.
How many yards do you think Kyler Murray needs to throw for him to have a successful year? I'm saying 4,500. Take a step forward, Kyler Murray.
I'm not saying 4,500.
In 17 games?
I'm not saying 45. Absolutely not. Right now he's got 1 wide receiver, 1.5, because Rondell Moore is 5'7", so he counts as a half a wide receiver. And you got Hollywood Brown, who I think he's okay. I don't think he's a #1, but I mean they lost Christian Kirk, and they got the human injury Zach Ertz. He's always hurt, always freaking hurt, guaranteed to miss 5-6 games a year, guaranteed, always hurt.
I gotta pull up Zach Ertz stats now.
Zach always hurts. Always hurt.
Let me see. Give me a second. I'm about to have to roast your ass on this one. If he throws for 4,500 yards this year, that would have put him this last year 7th in quarterbacks for passing yards. Not top 5, 7th. 4,500 passing yards would have put him 7th. It would have put him. It would have put him 51 yards ahead of Dak Prescott and it would have put him 93 yards ahead of Josh Allen. Okay? So I'm saying I would expect 4,500 passing yards from Kyler Murray. Saying he's never even passed a 4,000 passing yards plateau. I'm a little skeptical. I'm skeptical he even plays a full season healthy.
I just think you're underrating him. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
think a guy who could potentially miss 4 or 5 games a year because he's got a bum shoulder at 24 years old. I think you're not taking that into account because your love for Oklahoma quarterback.
I don't have a love for him. You're making me fall in love with him because you're so asinine.
You
so
also fell
for
in love with Baker Mayfield last year. How's that take going? Freaking rotten milk. Rotten milk. Your love for these Oklahoma quarterbacks blind you.
He played through injury. Another guy who played through injury. He should have just sat out. He just should have sat out is what he should have done.
But he would have been just like Kyler Murray then. Another bum shoulder Oklahoma quarterback.
I'm just saying
they got him.
I'm just saying Arizona made a good deal and the fans are going to love it because the next 2 years he's still on his rookie deal. Next 2 years. The 5 years after that, the salary cap's going to be higher. It's not going to seem as bad. That's all I'm saying. And someone will pass him when Josh Allen's when does his contract expire?
I think Lamar Jackson will get a bigger contract than his.
I guarantee you Lamar Jackson will not get a contract that big. Guaranteed.
He's won an MVP. He's won an MVP. He's won a playoff game, Grump.
I guarantee you he will not get a contract in the same realm as Watson and Murray. It will not happen.
Okay. Wow.
Will not happen.
Wow.
He's not worth $45 million a year. You might see him get 40, which I still think is an overpay. But that's the thing. You get yourself a quarterback or someone who's proficient at the position, you don't let them go. You just don't. Guys in their prime, you don't let them go.
I think Lamar Jackson has done more with less. The passing yards are obviously more, he leaves room to be desired. But you want to talk about a guy who has no to limited options on the offense? That's Lamar Jackson.
I just think Lamar Jackson's a run-first quarterback.
He is a run-first quarterback.
Well, to me, that's not what I want in a quarterback. But let's go to the next topic, please. We just spent 40 minutes on this. But you asked the question. I answered it. You didn't like my answer, so you tried to pick it apart. Arizona fans are fucking ecstatic. That much I can tell you.
Hey, this is one of the topics we had to talk about, Grump.
They don't want to go back to drafting Josh Rosen in the first round. In the top 10. They don't want to go do that anymore. They got a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, the coach knew. He knew. He's like, yeah, Josh Rosen, I know we drafted you. This kid's way better. We're going with him.
I want your preseason. I want your numbers that you need Kyler Murray. You expect Kyler Murray to have. If he's got anything less, you're disappointed in his year. What are the numbers?
I don't have any numbers for him.
Maybe it's going to be 0 passing yards because that shoulder in week 1 might be.
Well, no, then his name would be Lamar Jackson.
Drew L says here, those Yanks can't beat the damn cheaters, the Houston Astros. Shaking my head. Why does Boone have such a hard-on for Domingo German? He blows.
Here's the thing. What I've been saying, right? The Yankees, when they meet good pitching and you shut down those sluggers, they're going to struggle. I don't think they've beaten Houston all year. Maybe they won a game or two, but Houston can pitch. Good pitching beats good hitting every time, particularly a free swing team like the Yankees. Doubleheader today, they lost both games.
Yeah, I saw. Stephen Porter says, Grumpy, how many books do you think TJ has read on his shelves?
0, Stephen.
These are all my wife's fantasy books. So I have not read any of those. That's correct. Ryan J says, at least you're not the Giants with Daniel Jones.
There you go.
They should have gotten Daniel Jones last year. They should have said, we're in full-on blow-it-up mode.
And what
the Giants just prolonged another rebuild. Guess what? The rebuild will not launch because you have Daniel Jones at the helm.
What should the Giants have done?
Blowing it the hell up. Trade away Barkley. Trade away that pile of garbage.
Trade away Barkley.
Trade away Barkley. Trade away that freaking used. Trade Barkley away. Goodbye.
You are crazy.
How?
Again, but this just proves my point. When you don't have a quarterback, that's what you are. You put Kyler Murray on that team, they're a playoff team.
I've seen really good running backs overcome shitty quarterbacks, i.e. Adrian Peterson, every freaking year when he was in Minnesota.
They didn't win. They didn't win anything when he was there.
I've seen him overcome. He overcame a bad QB and helped bring that team sometime to winning records. I'm saying Saquon Barkley, Not that freaking good. He's a good back. He has so much value because of what he did his rookie year. You should have traded him now. He's not ever going to replicate what he did his rookie year. Never, ever, ever.
Do you think
Mark
you
that
can,
down.
do you think coming off of 2 injury-plagued years, you're going to get anything for him?
I honestly told you as soon as he tore the ACL after the first time, you should have traded him. I said last year.
But who's going to trade for a running back coming off a torn ACL?
He still okay. You still think came off of 1 injury ACL, maybe he'll be back and be better. He'll be back and he'll be fine. Now, right? You're talking about the injury riddle. Yeah, that's right. He's got the injury prone tag written all over him. He's a guy.
When you have hatred for people, geez, I tell you what, you really got it. Because you've hated that kid since day one. You've hated Saquon Barkley since they drafted him. You were ragging on them drafting him. And he had a phenomenal rookie year.
It wasn't the position of need they had.
They needed every position. He was the best player. He was the best player in that draft.
Okay.
I don't know how you can deny it.
He was not the best player in that draft.
Really?
Drew L says, only ironic that Cleveland signed a player who gets replaced by Kyler Murray, Josh Rosen.
Again, Cleveland. It's Cleveland. They can't help but Cleveland things up. That's all they do.
Stephen Porter said, could Cam Newton possibly go to the Browns? I think that's the last we've ever seen of Cam Newton in the NFL. Maybe they'll get Colin Kaepernick. The Browns will. He's been working out with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm like, quarterbacks that I'm just like, Cam Newton's towards the tail. Cam Newton's finished at QB. Colin Kaepernick finished as a QB. There's so many QBs that are finished as a QB. And Josh Rosen, he's awful.
You look at the Miami Dolphins since Dan Marino retired. They're still looking for a quarterback. He's been retired for like what?
They picked the wrong one. That's what happens when you have foolish general manager. You pick the wrong QB. You had Herbert there, and you picked Tua.
But I'm just saying, they've been looking 30 years for a quarterback.
You had the opportunity and options to draft the right ones. Your general manager just picked the wrong quarterback.
Not the right ones. They haven't picked that high, except for the one where they got Tua. That one, I mean, when that's well documented, they should have taken Herbert. We talked about that. But I mean, before that, they've tried how many times? Steve Tannehill. Who are the other guys? I mean, they're trying. I mean, that the whole thing is when you're trying to win games, it's tough. You're not going to pick high enough to get a good quarterback unless you luck into one like Wilson or Brady. I mean, you got to pick them at the top of the draft. I mean, the Giants, I think they're absolutely looking for a quarterback. I think maybe Jimmy Garoppolo might be a good fit there right now.
Oh my God.
Somebody to move the chains while you look for another one. Daniel Jones is not the answer. He's not. But Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not a big fan of his. He does win games. I'm not saying he's good enough to lead you to a Super Bowl, or win a Super Bowl for you, but he does win games in the regular season. Something to be said for that.
I'm trying to pull up here. Give me a sec. I'm getting all of these Miami drafts pulled up. They've had a lot of high picks. Give me a sec. Tannehill was 8th in that 2019 draft.
And you would say that's overdrafted. I mean,
2012 draft.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't say Ryan Tannehill was overdrafted. I'm just saying they picked the wrong QBs in the past.
But it's not like a whole bunch of stars are going after them. I remember when you had Brady, Peyton, Rodgers, or Favre, and there was nobody for years, young guys under them. Nobody. It's only the last couple of years you're seeing the new quarterbacks come in. Before that, there were no new ones. That's what people are saying. Geez, the quarterbacks, is it over for them? I mean, it just kind of is the way it is.
Sec here. Okay, 2008. Who's in that quarterback class? Okay, 2008. They could have very easily selected Matt Ryan. They selected Jake Long.
Matt Ryan was selected number 2 overall.
3. Matt Ryan was the 3rd overall pick. They selected Jake Long first overall. That's a quarterback who was available. They could have had.
But wasn't that the
who's had a very successful NFL career?
Okay,
you drafted a tackle who no longer is in the NFL.
What year was that? What year was that?
2008. Okay,
but they just drafted Tannehill the year before. They just drafted Tannehill.
They drafted Tannehill in 2012.
Well, who was their quarterback? Who was their quarterback in
Jesus,
mean,
man. I couldn't tell you the analog of ever. I'm just pulling up. They've had draft picks. They
and Matt
hadn't
Ryan
had
had never
draft
won
picks. They
shit
have picked
either.
the wrong guys.
Matt
Simple.
Ryan's never won anything either, right? I would consider him an above average quarterback, I guess, but he's not a winner. When you write down NFL history, how long before you get to Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan's the guy who's had a very solid NFL career.
Okay.
He's
That's
passed
not
for
good
a
enough.
lot of yards for a long time. That's a guy I could see after a while squeaking his way into the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Not
you're
maybe not
dreaming.
deserving so,
You're
but
dreaming.
squeaking his way in the Hall of Fame.
You're dreaming.
Remember what they do afterwards and how they're perceived. Hey, do they talk a lot? Are they guys who do Sunday morning football? It's magical when you do little items like that. It could push you into the Hall of Fame because the writers vote on
that's not
it.
happening with Matt Ryan. Not happening with Matt Ryan. How about Jim Hart? You think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Who?
Jim Hart. Thank you very much. Who? Thank you. He was probably like the second best quarterback in the National Football League at the time, playing for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Hold on. What time period are we talking about right now, Grumpy? Do
19,
I need to go ahead and pull?
1970.
Go ahead and pull out a freaking. I need to go ahead and pull out the analog.
Well, I'm just saying. That's my point.
33. Come on.
Matt Ryan is Jim Hart, 2020. Jim Hart from the 70s. He was a good quarterback, not a Hall of Famer. Neither was Matt Ryan. He had one really good year when he won MVP. Okay, let's move on.
Hold on. I got one more.
Wow.
2005. Who the hell was drafted then? Oh, Alex Smith. Yikes. Man, that 05. Hey, they've had Aaron Rodgers. That's right. He slipped and slid all the way in that 05 draft too. That's right. Yep. Anyway, so yeah, the Dolphins have had chances. Just pick the wrong guys occasionally at QB. And a lot of teams do that. It's not like it's just defined to the Dolphins. A lot of quarterbacks, a lot of teams have picked the wrong guy at QB. Simple. Joseph C says, does any All-Star game do well viewership-wise anymore? The MLB is the only major American sport that is a competitive All-Star game, and still people don't watch it. That was actually one of our topics of discussion. This year's MLB game, All-Star game, had the lowest viewership in the last 30 years of MLB All-Star games. Yikes.
I'm just going to say that Major League Baseball has managed to, I think, kill young fans because the sport is too boring and fans don't watch it. The younger kids don't watch anymore. The game, what time did that game even start?
Couldn't tell you.
Right.
Late.
It was like 8:45. I mean, I realize it's
summer, but still kids aren't staying up. 6 and 7-year-old kids aren't staying up till 11 or 12 o'clock at night to watch the All-Star game Eastern Standard Time.
Right. And it's like, I don't know what you're expecting. The game they've turned it, what was an exciting game into a boring game. Home run, strikeout, walk. Every game starts late. There are no more day games. When I was a kid, the World Series was played during the day.
Look at this time period, too, when viewership was at its highest. Look at the 90s. Game was juiced up at that time period, but still, it wasn't like everybody was swinging for a home run. There were a select group of people who were doing it, and because they're roided up, they were doing a hell of a job. But you're right. The game has changed. It's no longer valuable to get singles. It's no longer valuable to walk. It's no longer valuable to try to steal bases. It's swing for the home run or absolutely nothing.
Every player is the same. Every player is like a cookie cutter from the next guy. They all pretty much have the same batting stance. It's just not fun anymore.
Look at the viewership. Look at the viewership, by the way. And again, like you're able to see in this tab, total viewers, right? Back in the 90s, over 20 million, you're getting 20 million kind of a game. And you start getting to 2000s, okay, it starts dropping a little bit. You get to 2010. Every single year after 2010 has just been down. Every single year. We go from we're in the tens of millions to where, okay, now we're in 2015. Okay, we're barely after 2015, we're not even scratching 10 million viewers throughout these shows. And I mean, this most recent one in 2022 was the worst in the last 3 decades, and we're down to 7.5 million fans watching the game.
And the whole thing is there's nothing else. There is nothing else on the TV schedule at this time of year. Nothing.
No NFL, not even preseason games. No NHL, no NBA, no European soccer, no sports at all. but
why
the
not?
MLB.
Why not make it like an All-Star weekend? So this way, the kids can actually get to watch it and have it be an afternoon game. I mean, but Major League Baseball has the young people don't even want to watch it anymore. They don't want to watch it. They think it's boring. And now people who like baseball are older folk, such as myself.
I even remember in the early 2000s, I enjoyed All-Star Weekend. I enjoyed watching this celebrity baseball game. It was actually fun to watch that. It was fun to watch Home Run Derby. Here's the thing. It was fun to watch Home Run Derby because not everybody was out there slamming 100 home runs a season. You know, I'm being facetious, but it wasn't like every single player's got to hit 20 home runs to be viable in the lineup. You know what I mean? How often do you see guys you want to talk about just saying something and not knowing, but I have an inkling and a feeling. How many players on a team, right? If you've got how many batters of everyday guys hit more than 20 home runs a year now?
I don't know, a lot.
I'd say more than half of the guys that are in the lineup every night.
I don't know about that. I'd say maybe a third. I'd say a third.
I'm trying to give me a sec here. Speak about that. Speak what your thoughts are and why you think that for a second.
Yeah, because I don't think that everyone on the team has 20 home runs. But you know what you don't see?
Over half of the guys hit over 20 home runs.
Yeah, I don't think half the players on every team hit over 20 home runs. I mean, I don't even know what the record is for a team. I think the Yankees have the record, and it's like somewhere in the 200s. So, I mean, you divide that by what? 10 guys or something, you know, it's only averages like 20 some odd home runs as per player. And that's just not the way it is. I mean, for me, it's the fact that the game, it just drags out. They don't get the ball and throw it. They step out of the batter's box. They get back in the batter's box. You know, all right, I got to fix all my gloves. Now I'm going to step in. Hold on, ref. I got to back out. It's like, come on, just get the ball and throw it. And also, the size of the strike zone has shrunk as well over time.
About 9. Well, now you count the utility guys. So what? 10 batters, 10 guys that are out there every single night in that lineup. And you think to yourself, I mean, like I'm just looking at the Mets, right? They've got 5 guys who can reasonably hit over 20 home runs this year.
Not every team is the Mets, though.
The Mets, I wouldn't say, are extreme powerhouse regarding power batting.
You got Alonso, you got Lindor, you got what? Marte.
Marte's got 9.
Okay. Oh, he won't hit 20.
Maybe, depending if he gets hot in the second half of the year.
Okay.
You look at Brandon Nimmo's got 9. No, so it's not.
So he's not going to make it. You realize they've already played over half the year, right?
Just saying, some guys get hot at the end of the year.
Okay. I just don't think you're going to see that from the Mets. You're not going to see 5 guys have 20 home runs.
Okay.
The Yankees, absolutely.
Maybe it's 40% of all the batters, 40% of the regular lineup guys hit over 20 home runs now, where it wasn't like that back in the day.
True.
Hitting 20 home runs was something where it's like, okay, guy's hitting 20 home runs and having 20 stolen bases. You're like, holy crap, this guy's cooking with freaking oil.
When I was a kid, 30 home runs, man, you were a slugger. And 100 RBIs, holy crap, you're an all-star. Now it's like, but here's the thing, batters weren't hitting, 30 home runs, 90 RBIs, hitting 210. That's not the way it was.
And here's the thing, too. I think there's obviously some teams on the spectrum like the Yankees. I mean, I'd say probably 80 or 90% of their everyday batters going to have over 20 home runs. I'd say there's
no, they're not going to have 80 or 90% of their batters have over 20 home runs. You're crazy.
Everyday batters.
Yeah. So what are there, 9 of them? I mean,
with the DH, there's 10. I give it 10. Give me a sec. I'll pull it up for you.
Well, no, I'm not even including the DH.
I am. He's a batter.
Well, but they only have 9 batters. There's only 9 batters in a major league game. Do you even realize that? There's not 10. There's 9.
Okay.
Oh.
With the pitcher, it's 9 on the mound. Okay. I was doing the math quickly in my head. Okay. 9 guys on the diamond. Okay. Gotcha. So out of the 9 guys, right? Let's look at home runs for the Yanks.
Yeah. I say the Yankees maybe have 4, maybe 5 tops.
Judge already has over 20. Giancarlo Stanton already has over 20.
Yep.
Rizzo already has over 20. Glaber
Mhm.
Torres is at 15.
Okay.
Matt Carpenter's at 13. Joey Gallo's at 11. Josh Donald. I mean, like they all 6 of those guys could reasonably have over 20 home runs. Josh
Okay.
Donaldson has 9. Maybe he
Okay.
goes on a tear the second half of the year.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. By the end of the year, you're not going to have 6 guys having over 20 home runs
Okay.
because Gallo is subbed out of the lineup now. It's Carpenter in there. So it's one or the other. It's not both. You can't have both because they're not going to play enough.
Okay, Grumpy. Fair enough. I'm just saying, I think you're seeing more home runs from players where it makes the home run contest not as entertaining as it had been in years past. That was some of the appeal. Home runs don't happen all the time. So we're just having a freaking competition. We're killing the ball and hitting home runs pretty much every swing we make contact with, or a lot of the swings we make contact with the home run derby, we're hitting out of the park. When you have so many home runs a game, it's kind of like, oh, okay, it's just another home run. This happens, however many times a game.
Well, that's the whole thing. They make home runs seem easy now, where before that was not the case. I mean, look at the home run derby. Julio Rodriguez hit 32 home runs in the first round, 31 in the second round. I mean, that's a lot of home runs.
I remember when Josh Hamilton, this is now, what is it? This was before, what was it? When did Josh Hamilton win? Was it 2008, 2010, something like that?
I don't know. He had like 28, and it was like, oh my God.
One round. Holy shit, Josh Hamilton had 28.
Yep.
32s, 30s, 20s. Just consistent now. It's honestly like so
now
I think the sport of baseball really has got to do. We've talked about they have got to try to save the sport.
Can I just say one thing? You know who won the home run contest, right?
Couldn't even tell you.
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto, I know.
Who we talked about at length on Sunday. I'm a pro Juan Soto. Yes, generational talent. But I know what Washington did, the Nationals, after he did not sign that contract. They did not charter him a flight to or from the All-Star game. He had to pay for it himself.
See ya.
Going commercial. To me, man, that makes them look bad. Ooh, that makes them look bad.
Hi, buddy. Well, you know what? You're not we were willing to give you $450 million over a 15-year deal, and you said no.
I mean, he's going to get more than that. He's going to get more than that. 30
he overpaid.
No, he's not. Absolutely not. He's going to get way more than that on a shorter term deal.
Brian J says Rodgers, Brady, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert when you were asking for 5 QBs better. Joseph C said baseball's biggest problem is the season is too long. The games have pace and play issues. They don't promote their stars, and it's too regionalized.
I just want to talk about promoting their stars. I think it's because they don't. You see the way they've homogenized the game.
Everybody's a cookie cutter.
Yes. Mike Trout, right? Does this guy even talk?
He's a vanilla bland guy.
I mean,
no big personalities in a sport.
No personalities, just none. I remember everyone had a personality. You look at them, they're smiling for the cat. It's like everything's micromanaged by the corporate structure that is sports, from kids growing from a young age all the way up. This is the way you do it. You hit like this. You swing like this.
Your stance is like this.
Yeah. And Here's the thing. I've done it myself when I've coached kids. Here's the thing. If I see a kid who's doing everything wrong but getting results, I never mess with them. But otherwise, I'm working with them to try to have them do it the right way. But you're just seeing that. You look at the guys at the plate. Look at the batting stances. They're almost all the same. Everybody looks the same.
You don't see any Julio Franco batting stances or any Gary Sheffield batting stances and leading up. You don't see any of that.
Matty Alou.
Geez, well, I'm even talking about recent years, like even in the 90s and the early 2000s. You don't see any of those type of stances that are different like that.
True.
So, it's just, it just takes a little bit of just like
Vladimir Guerrero. Man, the original, not the son. The original.
I was about to say the son's batting stance isn't crazy, but the original, oh man. Remember the Vlad zone.
He was so fun to watch.
And everything. He was a fantastic batter.
He was fun to watch. Swung at everything. And hit the ball. He was fun to watch. They're just doesn't seem like it's fun.
They have to promote people being a little more off the cuff and being a little more themselves.
They try to push Ohtani a little bit, and they should. He's going to win MVP again, by the way, TJ. You're right.
That's what I told you.
Yeah.
First ballot Hall of Fame caliber guy, because nobody is going to ever do anything like he's doing now. I told you that. And I said he's heating up. Watch out. Shohei Ohtani might win himself another MVP.
Again, TJ, he threw the Hall of Fame word out there. Again, after 2 years in the league.
He could play 2 years, and what he's done, nobody will ever do again.
Okay.
Because of what he's done, nobody will ever be able to recreate. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. I think that
Hall of Fame.
Okay. Again, he's played 2 years in the league.
He's played more than 2 years. But
here's the thing. I think his numbers don't even have to be what they were last year to win. And you're 100% right on that because he's so versatile. But I think you will see other people doing that in the future.
I wonder when they're going to start lowering the value of what he does because, well, he's won 2 MVPs. I mean, yeah, he's just kind of, they do this all the time with MVPs. Oh, he's won 3 MVPs. You know, I know he's still over there throwing, you know, with an ERA of 2.00 with, you know, 200 strikeouts on the year. And I know he's hitting 270 with 30 homers and 100 RBIs and 100 runs. But, you know, Vladimir Guerrero has got 50 homers this year and 140. And, you know, we see Shohei Ohtani do this every year. And I'm just, you know, him throwing with an ERA around 2 and, you know, 200 strikeouts with the batting average and the batting production. It's just, I don't know. It's just, we see it all the time from him. I wonder when they're going to get to that point on him. And it's going to be a sad day.
Yeah,
they do it all the time. They did it with LeBron James and basketball. They do it all the time with the greats. Always.
Okay.
Brian P. says here, I will say his numbers have gotten better each year, talking about Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's what you want from a quarterback. The team's gotten better. He's gotten better. Worst team in the league when he got there.
Mahomes, Herbert, Burrows, and Watson all better. The chokes. You're seeing that Jimmy G to the Giants rumors. Let's talk about that for a second. I know you mentioned it, but what a mistake I think that would be for the Giants.
Not really. He's on the last year of his deal. He's probably better than Daniel Jones. He's not going to be – he's risk adverse, okay? He's not going to throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field.
Jesus.
It's a run. He's a run-after-catch guy, and I think that works with the Brian Daboll offense. I do. I mean, that's what Josh Allen did when he first started. I mean, now they've taken the gloves off with him up in Buffalo. But he's another guy. He doesn't throw bombs all down the field. No, good old the little short passes. And that's where Jimmy G's strength is. He can't throw the ball down the field, particularly not in the Meadowlands. You can forget that. That's not happening.
I think it prolongs and ruins the draft. But I'm always in football, right? There's no draft lottery. If you're going to be a bad team, embrace the suck. Get the best picks you can, because the NFL is one of the true leagues where literally, like the flip of a switch, you can go from I'm a miserable team in the bottom 5 to I'm a team who just made the playoffs the year after.
I don't think it's that quick, but you can see dramatic improvement and it's really because of the schedule as well. If you're a bad team, you're playing the bad teams. Except for your division guys and whatever conference you're playing. But you're playing lower level teams.
You're not winning a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones ever as the quarterback, and you're never winning a Super Bowl with Jimmy G as a quarterback. True. Never, ever, ever.
But if it's a 1 year guy, if it's a 1 year thing, what's Brian Daboll trying to do with the Giants right now? Do you think he's trying to tank this season, or is he trying to instill a winning atmosphere in your first year as head coach?
Let me ask you this. I'm going to play 1 year further on down the road. Let's assume they have a winning record this year. They're 9-8. Woo! First winning record in a while. What are they doing next year, quarterback, Grump?
I think you still draft one.
Well, if you're 9-8, you're going to be looking at pick 15 perhaps, or pick 14. You're not going to get a top tier spot to get a legitimate quarterback.
You know what? Then you show the cojones and you trade up. Like other teams
so we're going to trade up for a guy who's in the top 5, give up our this year first round pick and about 3 maybe other first round picks to move up 10 to 13 spots depending on what quarterback we're going after, and then we're going to really take a gamble on somebody who may not pan out.
So you're saying the Giants
have in the future.
So you're trying to say that a new first time as a head coach should come in, tank the season to hopefully get high enough in the draft to draft somebody? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they should have gotten rid of Daniel Jones immediately. I'm saying they should have gotten rid of Daniel Jones.
They didn't pick up his 5th-year option.
Okay.
So
But
this
they
is it for
still
him.
haven't won a team.
Well,
Trade
then,
that.
who's going to be your quarterback for
somewhere
this year? Who are you going to put at the quarterback position this year?
I even think Drew Lock has a higher ceiling than Daniel Jones.
Oh, my
That's
God.
how low I think of Daniel Jones blows. He absolutely blows.
Okay.
I don't know how many fumbles I need to watch from that guy again.
I'm going to defend Daniel Jones a little bit.
Wow.
How many head coaches has he had since he's been there?
You're bringing the Alex Smith topic into conversation, huh?
I'm just saying he's had 3 different head coaches and 4 different coordinators.
He's just an Alex Smith in the making, isn't
he? And I don't think he's that great, but they certainly haven't helped him. That I will say.
It's not like he hasn't had bad weapons. He's had injuries, right? There have been injuries to the weapons he's had.
Thank God he's had Saquon Barkley there.
This year, he should be fantastic. They got Evan Neal, fantastic offensive lineman. They got Kayvon Thibodeau, fantastic outside linebacker. Really helped the offense and defensive line out, which is big. You've got weapons at wide receiver. You've got weapons at tight end. You've got weapons at running back. See what they do. Let's see how he plays. He's a guy who's been underwhelming since the beginning.
I'm just saying I can understand why they might want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I'll say.
Ryan P says Lamar Jackson isn't better than Murray. I disagree.
Thank
Andrew
you,
L says Fantasy Football League with viewers from the show would be awesome. We'll do that. We will.
Oh, man.
I think we know who's going to pick Tua.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
I almost want to pick him before, maybe like the second to last round.
I almost think that we should. I would pick Kyler Murray. I don't care. First overall.
First overall pick. Kyler Murray's off the board.
Yep, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Now there's in fantasy, he's a good option. I have him on my dynasty league team, and he's an auto start for me, but it cost me a championship because at the end I stopped paying attention, and I had Joe Burrow, and I didn't play him at the end. Cost me a championship.
Oh, Jesus, you keep talking about that shit. I don't care about that. When you talk about your fantasy league, not only do I not care, the listeners don't care. You're the only person who cares about it. It's like you want to talk about my dog.
I can talk about what I want to talk about, can I?
Andrew L said, and from the Islanders Never Say Die podcast too. I'd be down to have that. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd rather have Murray than Lamar Jackson.
Everybody would.
The Browns made a huge move today. Sign Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
Lamar and Murray are overhyped. I definitely think Kyler Murray's overhyped. And I think that Lamar, it's tough. He doesn't have a lot of weapons around him. I don't think he's an MVP caliber quarterback. I think he's a guy that's towards 9 and 10 in the NFL year in, year out.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think that Murray was overpaid on this deal, but you don't have an option. You have to sign him.
Brian J says James Conner is good in the end zone for certain.
Very good.
And Chase Edmonds is in Miami now. And they're 4 running back by committee. Shaking my head. Why do teams have so many running backs?
They get hurt.
It makes no sense.
They get hurt.
And running backs are a dime a dozen.
Yep, pretty much.
No need to sign somebody to a huge long-term deal, i.e. Ezekiel Elliott, i.e. Christian McCaffrey. Anytime you give these guys a big deal, they're at the time period when they've already been used and abused to where it doesn't make sense to sign them long-term.
I'll just say, here's what I'm going to say about that. And I'm a firm believer you don't give running backs second contracts. I mean,
unless they're truly special.
Right. I mean, Adrian Peterson's the example, right?
Adrian Peterson, maybe Derrick Henry.
Maybe.
We don't even know if that one works out yet.
Maybe.
Because he was hurt last year. He may be hurt again this year. We don't know.
But you look at bringing Tampa Bay Buccaneers in here. Leonard Fournette, they were giving him 1-year deals, a couple, right? All of a sudden, they give him a 3-year deal, $21 million. He comes in. They list him at $228. He shows up at camp at $260. I'm sorry. That's a guy you never give a big deal to. You just don't do it. I don't know what the guaranteed money is, but if the right Rashad White shows out, I'd cut his ass.
Brian J says Lamar can't throw.
He can't.
Lamar's got the one playoff win. Andrew L said a very mind-relieving Jacob DeGrom update today.
He said he felt great, and I'm so pumped because he's on my baseball fantasy team for the playoffs.
Jesus Christ, you and that dumb stuff. Brian J says, TJ Grump, who your NFL team? I'm a Giants fan.
I'm a Giants fan as well. I'm a Tom Brady fan, though.
Why don't you
First,
tell everybody the last time you actually rooted for the Giants on a consistent basis and watched Giants games? 15 years ago?
maybe
I'd say you've been all Brady all the time. That's
Brady.
all
Yeah, Brady's number one. I don't deny it. You're trying to make it sound like I'm hiding that. I'm not. Anyone who listens to this podcast knows I'm Brady first and foremost.
Brian J says Herbert is a gunslinger. Brian P says Brady, Rodgers, Herbert, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Carr. I didn't even put Derek Carr on the list. Maybe Derek Carr is better. Here's the thing. Derek Carr will have better numbers than Kyler Murray this next year. You can freaking book that. Book it now. Derek Carr will have better passing yards than Kyler Murray. Listen to this. I'm gambling Derek Carr stays healthy. All that added in. Derek Carr will have more passing yards this year and more passing touchdowns this year than Kyler Murray. Put that down to the book now.
He's got better weapons.
That's correct.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Hold on. Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins might as well be an even trade-off. Even 6 games you're missing.
DeAndre Hopkins isn't even playing for the first 6 games.
They've got Hollywood Brown now they added, Grump.
Hollywood Brown is not DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams.
He's a number 1 wideout.
He's not a number 1 wideout. I don't think he is. He's not. He's not a just.
Lamar can't throw because he didn't have good weapons. I'm glad we're down to that.
Actually, Hollywood Brown was the perfect receiver for Lamar Jackson. Just a straight down the field burner.
On the show.
Woo! Air it out. Woo!
Carr ain't better than Murray, bro.
I do hope.
I don't know, man. Carr's gonna throw for more yards than Murray will this year. I booked that.
He might. But here's the thing. I'd love to see Derek Carr succeed. I really would. I think he's gotten a bad shake, and he's another guy who has suffered from multiple head coaches and offensive coordinators. I think that hurts a quarterback.
Brian P says Herbert has had the best, most productive first 2 seasons in the league in NFL history. Those are facts for certain. Herbert is like Rodgers.
Okay, I can see that comparison. I could, but I think Herbert has a chance to be a winner. Rodgers is not a winner.
Frank C saying Mayfield will be fine now that he's out of Cleveland.
Carolina is bad. Carolina's bad.
Mayfield at best is a game manager. At best, I still stick by that statement. Guess what? I said that last offseason. I'm saying it again now. At best, game manager.
I think he'll be better in Carolina, but I don't think Carolina is that good. This is make or break year for Matt Rule as head coach.
Brian J said, TJ, look at the stats of deep balls thrown by each quarterback. I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray is up there.
He can throw every pass accurately too. Like I said, my only concern is he's small.
My shoulder hurts 2 years in a row at 23 and 24 years old. Oh, no. My shoulder really hurts.
Because he's carrying the whole state of Arizona on his back.
He's carrying the whole team on his back, right? He's carrying it on his shoulder. He needs to put it on his back next time.
Maybe so.
Frank C. says here, Lamar Jackson is a one-dimensional quarterback.
True.
He benefits. He's a run guy. He's a run, and the pass opens up via the run. If you're talking for a 1-year type of guy, I put him as a better QB than Murray. Long term, not so much. Yeah.
To me, I think that, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he's not capable of it, but you would think that John Harbaugh would be kind of moving him away from the run first thing, because you're not going to
last long term.
You can't do it long term.
Brian J says Eli is a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Grump, first ballot.
No way.
I'm not sure. I agree with
I've never seen anyone as overrated as Eli Manning.
He ended his career as a quarterback with a losing record. Not saying it's a possible make. Did Archie Manning do that too?
Archie Manning's not in the Hall of Fame either. Archie Manning played on hideous New Orleans State teams. That was before free agency. So if you got picked to a team like New Orleans, you sucked.
Your career was over.
He did win NFL MVP one
Frank
year.
C said Jim Hart was pretty good, Grump, back when we were kids.
That's right. TJ doesn't even know who the hell he is. That's my point about Matt Ryan.
Well, believe it or not, I wasn't watching football back in 19.
Well, if he was a Hall of Famer, you should know.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, he's not.
Okay,
and neither is Matt Ryan. That's my point.
Drew L says Jimmy is not a bad quarterback. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree there.
He's just not. I just don't think in a big game you don't want him there. One thing about Eli, he's just so clueless that the pressure never affected him. Peyton, in a big game, I'm taking Eli over Peyton all the time. In any other game, I'm taking Peyton over Eli.
Eli had that dumb look on that oh shucks look on his face. Like you didn't even hear, you didn't even need to hear what he said. Just the look on his face was like, oh shucks.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
like
mean to throw
Eli.
that interception.
I like
Oh
Eli. I
shucks.
just always think he was overrated. If he
I
didn't
like
play in
both
New
of
York,
the Manning brothers as commentators. They're both funny. Here's the thing, too. Eli Manning will be a Hall of Famer because of what he does in the media world now. Book that shit
he's going to be a Hall of Famer because he won 2 Super Bowls playing
against
for the New York Football Giants. Jim Plunkett's not in the Hall of Fame. He won 2 Super Bowls. Jim Plunkett was a good quarterback too.
Brian P said, TJ, you're underrating Murray, but Grump is overrating Murray a little bit.
TJ made me overrate Murray a little bit.
You go start singing his praises. I'm doubling down on guys in above average quarterback. That's where I think he is. He's never going to be a league MVP caliber QB. And if he does, he'll maybe I could see him winning a league MVP.
That's what I said.
He will never win, never, ever, ever win a Super Bowl.
We'll see.
I could say that with confidence.
Okay.
Stafford is better than Murray too. I didn't even put those guys in. I didn't want to argue on those guys. I'll argue certain players. I didn't need to argue a guy like Matthew Stafford is better. Andrew L said, "Did you see the Papal Bonds tweet?" I don't buy it. I don't know who that is. Who's Papelbon?
Actually, it looks like Papelbon. Maybe Jonathan Papelbon used to be a relief pitcher for the Red Sox. I don't know. Don't know.
It's here.
Have you seen it? Do you know what it is?
No, I don't even know who the hell Papelbon is.
Okay. Well, that's the only Papelbon.
Oh, no, Juan Soto's agent confirmed. When I type in Papelbon, it says Juan Soto's agent confirmed that the Nationals refused to charter him a flight home from the Home Run Derby after he rejected a $440 million contract. He flew commercial. Yeah, that's all we got.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Jonathan Papelbon. He's the former closer for the Red Sox. He says Juan Soto wants to go to the Mets, says Boris. Now watch their petty ass general manager not let it happen simply because that's where he wants to go. If he does go to the Mets, you can wrap up the World Series in a blue and orange guaranteed.
That's what I think the Mets' biggest need is the big hitting outfielder. I think that's their biggest need. I think they're better constructed than the Yankees. I do. I've said it all year, but I still think they need that big bat in the outfield.
Jonathan freaking Papelbon. Jesus Christ. I haven't thought about him in a long time.
I told you who he was before you even got to that.
I wasn't putting Jonathan Papelbon. I'm like, Papelbon. Like, why the hell does Papelbon sound familiar? He was a really good closer for a short time period, wasn't he?
He was.
Jonathan freaking Papelbon. One of the many. Let's put it here. Oh, you're right. Okay, gotcha. The Astros own the Yankees' ass. Yep.
They
problem.
They know how to beat the Yankees.
Drew L said, "Listen here, Grump. I'm gonna need to lay some ground rules for the younger viewers. No fucks, no shits, no curses, Grump. I'll give TJ permission to slap you with a nightstick." That's right, Grumpy. I've never said that word. And the fact that you have said that word, no F's, no the S word, and no curse words, Grumpy. No potty mouth words. I know the warden would not be very happy with you right now.
That's why the warden's upstairs right now.
Ah, so he can speak freely. Andrew L said, as a Jets fan, do I have something to look forward to with Cougar killer Zach Wilson?
I love Zach Wilson. He's my new favorite.
What do you expect from Zach Wilson this year?
I expect him to be hitting all of his mom's friends in the neighborhood. That's what I think.
What do you expect from him performance on the field?
I think he'll be improved. I just wish the Jets didn't have that fat slob at left tackle.
I'm excited for my boy, Grumpy. I'm excited for him. Mekhi Becton.
Yeah, I just no.
He looked.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, he hasn't proven he can, and doesn't eat himself out of the league, he could be a serviceable left tackle. I thought they should have went tackle in the first round. I do. But I think he's going to be better because Bryce Hall is going to be a better option at running back than Michael Carter. Not that Michael Carter is a bad running back, but he's more of a third down guy, where Bryce Hall can play all 3 downs if need be, certainly a better runner between the tackles. And then I think you have Elijah Moore, who's going to be better, and Garrett Wilson at the wide receiver spot. I think he has a chance to be much better this year.
I think Zach Wilson will play better, just as you had mentioned. I think that team, the Jets, I
Uh-oh.
think I could see them winning 7 or more games.
We'll see. He was
And
much
before, and
better.
I'll say that again.
I mean, think about it. He was really bad until he got hurt against New England. And I think maybe the fact that he was injured for a couple of games and got to sit back and breathe a little bit helped him because he was much better when he came back.
He's going to be better this year than he was last year.
Yeah.
Simple as that. He's got better offensive line protection. He has better weapons as well. That matters. Drew L says Saquon Barkley is going to come. He's going to have a comeback player of the year season and make TJ eat dirt.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I always cannot stand about Barkley is he'll have some games where he'll rattle off 200 yards rushing and other games where he says, oh, through the first 3 quarters of the game, I'm going to have 15 yards rushing on 19 attempts. And then I'm going to break 2 runs and I'm going to have 180 yards rushing for huge rushes right there. And everybody's going to say, oh, Barkley's so fantastic. Yeah, the guy's not a consistent runner. Honestly, he's like he's an even more juiced up version of Reggie Bush. All home run, big home run type of guy.
I disagree.
Reggie Bush is more healthy throughout his career than Barkley was. Barkley started 13 games last year and had 593 rushing yards.
He still wasn't 100% from the previous year.
Oh, okay. Still wasn't.
He wasn't. You know he wasn't.
Okay. I mean, average 45 rushing yards a game.
I think he'll be better this year than last year. I don't think he'll ever be what he was.
He averages more than 50 rushing yards a game.
I don't think he'll ever be. He's a 3-down back though. Okay, so I don't think he'll ever be as good as he was his rookie year. But I think he's going to be. I think he's going to put up really good numbers this year. Not like he had in his rookie year. I don't think so.
Isn't that great? Never be as good as his rookie year.
His rookie year was phenomenal. You can't deny that. Come on.
He wasn't even the best running back in the league his rookie year.
He was phenomenal his rookie year. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying he wasn't good. Just saying he wasn't even the best running back in the league that year.
Okay, who was better than him? Maybe Kamara?
Ezekiel Elliott had 1,400 rushing yards that year. More rushing yards and probably right on par or more receiving yards. Ezekiel Elliott was really good that time period too.
Yeah, no. No. I mean, the only guy I can think of is maybe Kamara. Kamara's underrated. In the league, Kamara's an underrated back. He really is.
I like Alvin Kamara. I certainly do. But he's a guy kind of up there in age too.
Well, he's also got, the curb stomping of a guy that's going to come back and haunt him this year.
And it should.
Yeah.
It should. Anyway, let me pull this here. Drew L said, hey, I would not mind Jimmy Garoppolo for a couple of years as a rental for the Giants. God almighty.
1 year only because that's the last year of his contract.
Maybe he's saying you sign him back. Joseph C said Giants should tank for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young.
Is there any guarantee those guys are going to be any good? Bryce Young, I'm not impressed with him.
I don't want Bryce Young as a QB. Too damn small. Might as well call him Kyler Murray 2.0.
I just don't think he's as good as Murray was. CJ Stroud, a little bit bigger. I don't know. I mean, to me,
a lot can happen in 1 year in college football, especially regarding rankings.
Yeah.
You see guys that are, preseason favorite to be drafted top 5, and they'll fall off the board, saying, this guy's maybe a second-round pick, and dark horse out of nowhere finds his way up the ladder.
In another year or two, Jacksonville might give up on
Trevor
Lawrence because they're not winning games, and it's not good to him either.
I was about to say, he's had a bad year. I'll be interested to see what Trevor Lawrence does this next year. Will he finally be able to break that miserable Jacksonville curse? Drew L says, I wouldn't mind that as well. The Giants tanking for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, he says. Brian P said, the league gives up on quarterbacks too quickly. It's the hardest position in sports. All guys develop at different times.
True. I remember when I was a kid, you draft somebody and he'd sit on the bench for like 3, 4, 5 years. And then he'd come in ready to play. Now you have to produce right away to justify your next contract.
Can the quarterbacks throw the football up to the second or third row in the stands? Because if they can't do that, no point to have them as the backup. I'm making a call back to somebody, Grump. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Brett Favre. Do you remember they literally just had him originally on the rock? Hey, you're traveling. He just goes over there in pregame and he just throwing the ball up into the third and second, the second and the third stanchion of the stadium.
He was drafted in the second round by Atlanta,
Yep.
and they just dumped him after a year. Nope. And that was, and he had like a bunch of his intestines removed after a car accident in his senior year. I can't believe they dealt him. Atlanta. They're Atlanta. Certain teams are just those teams. Atlanta's one of those teams.
James F. saying here, guys, I have my two favorite shows. You guys and Captain Jack Rackham. Show them on now, guys. Show on now, guys. Who's Captain Jack Rackham?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Oh, I'm sorry. See the captain. You guys see the captain. I don't know what that is either.
Captain Lou Albano?
2 weeks from now, it's the Hall of Fame game. I'm thinking of going. It's only a 2.5 hour drive to
Do
camp.
it. It's not going to sell out.
That's true.
Go. I don't even know who's playing. I love football. I can't wait.
Goon says, hey, Grump, last night while discussing M. Donald Grant when he dealt Seaver and Kingman in 1977, it is referred to as the Midnight Massacre.
The Midnight Massacre. And I want to say Seaver was traded. I think it was a Tuesday night. And then Sunday, they played the Reds at Shea Stadium. My grandfather got tickets for me, my brother, and my dad. And we went to see that game, and Seaver won that game. And everyone was, people forget, M. Donald Grant was hated. And Seaver got standing ovation the whole game. I don't know if he won a complete game or not, but I know the Reds won that game and he won. And it was just one of those things that you don't get to see anymore. You know, a guy coming back like 4 days later and he's pitching in a Reds uniform and beats the team that sold him as the franchise. It was Pat Zachary. I just remember the guys they traded for. Steve Henderson, Pat Zachary. Nothing.
James says here, Grump, Yankees got swept today. Are you concerned? I am, especially of the Astros.
I'm concerned about the Yankees just because it's home run or bust, and particularly against the Astros. They better hope that somebody else beats the Astros. The Astros know how to handle the Yankees. They do.
Goon says the Mets stunk against the Astros this year, too.
Astros are good.
They also didn't have DeGrom or Scherzer at that time. I'm not worried about the Astros, the Mets fan.
Ooh.
Mets have good pitching.
Yeah.
Mets' best pitchers weren't in the lineup when we played the Astros this year. They're not going to be pitching against freaking Carlos Carrasco and
Taijuan Walker.
Taijuan Walker has pitched damn well. Taijuan Walker is a top 3 guy on that team right now as a pitcher, starting pitcher.
I'm just saying the Astros are good. Don't undersell the Astros.
Brian P. said the steroid era was the best era in baseball, and you had home run hitters hitting for average, base stealers, a combination of everything. Now, half of the league hits 220. Yep.
That's the analytics. That's the analytics people say, well, you know what? Yeah, I know you could get on base and, but home runs are more important. So we're going to increase your launch angle, go for home runs. If you strike out, who cares? I mean, it's not the same game when I was a kid growing up. It's not. I mean, 2-1 games were exciting. It's like you had to be able to play defense. Now, do you really have to be able to play defense? And for people saying they should make the shift illegal, the shift's been around since the 1950s in some way, shape, or form. Hitters need to adjust to it. That's all you need to do. If you don't have the talent to do that, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for the hitters. Learn to go the other way. You got half the field to hit the ball and you won't wait and just knock the ball down the line. That's on you.
Or just swing to put contact on the ball. Just go ahead and tap the ball on the short side of the field.
You want to get a team out of a shift? You start hitting the ball the other way. You hit away from the shift.
You want.
All of a sudden they're going to say, God, we can't do this anymore. The guy's batting 800 against us in 10 games. We're going to have to readjust our strategy. We got to put the
whole they're all singles and maybe a double here, and he's not knocking in as many runs or as many,
But if everybody did that as opposed to just play regular old-time baseball, more fun to watch.
John M. says, good evening, guys. Great watching you again. Thanks, John. Thank you.
Johnny Mac.
Goon says, young TJ, to prove that you pay attention to Grump, how did he say Howie Spira was a few episodes ago? I don't even know who the hell that is.
Oh, the Yankees, George Steinbrenner hired him to get information on David Winfield when he called David Winfield like Reggie Jackson. Now, think about this as an owner. I want you to think about it as an owner. Reggie Jackson was known as, TJ, what was his nickname?
Mr. October.
Mr. October. Well, George Steinbrenner let Reggie Jackson go to the California Angels after his contract was up. People think Reggie Jackson played 100 years with the Yankees. It was only 5. And he signed David Winfield, who was superior, physically gifted, 6'6", could do everything, was a basketball player, played football, everything. But George Steinbrenner, when he underperformed at the end of the year and in the World Series, called him, I used to have Mr. October, but now I have Mr. May, saying that, David Winfield was good during the regular season early in the year, but not in crunch time. So he hired Howard Spira to get salacious information against him so he wouldn't have to pay off his contract.
Okay. Trying to find the dirt. Get some sort of breach in contract. Brian P said the pitcher doesn't hit TJ. No, the DH hits. I still thought they're hold on. The DH hits. Yeah, 9 batters. I don't know why the hell I was saying 10. They say
you don't know the sport.
Suck it. Stick it where the sun don't shine, Grump. James F said, TJ, can you find a video of Luis Garcia's windup in today's Yankees versus the Astros? He has one of the most annoying windups ever. Give me a sec. I'll do that, Grump.
I'll tell you what. After you pull that up, I want you to pull up Louis Tiant. I'll let you pull that up first. Then Luis, Luis Tiant. Tiant. And look at his windup. He was crazy. I don't know how he ever threw a strike throwing the way he threw.
I just want you to look. I've never looked this up, but just so you're able to see who I have up there. Can you see the searches that I have, Grumpy?
Yeah, Louis Garcia, Ghost Gold.
Windup is the top one. Yeah. Luis Garcia's windup.
So let's see.
So it must be. Give me a sec, Grumpy. Oh God, I gotta do one of these stupid things. Give me a sec.
That's all right. By the time we get that, I want you to, after this, pull up Luis Tiant, because he had a crazy windup, really crazy.
Again, how unique this is.
Garcia, man, he's grown his hair out from last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to rock the baby first, Joe.
Rock the baby.
Okay? And then he goes into the salsa. Okay? So he gets there. He gets his pitch, and then everything he does. Rock the baby, and go into the salsa. 2-1 pitch. Skips in there.
Okay. Look at Luis Tiant.
Okay, give me a sec here, huh?
Luis. Maybe it's the name. Tiant. Tiant.
Okay, let's take a look here. Luis Tiant.
He pitched for a lot of major league teams.
In Boston in the last 20 years. Ball 1.
Is this him pitching?
Just put in his windup. Yeah, he pitched for the Yankees. He pitched for the Red Sox. He did some crazy windups. Just put windup. There it is, windup. There it is.
Check out this Verbo.
Oh man,
I gotta love that. Give me a second.
At least it's only a 5-second commercial.
Louis Tiant, the Cuban-born son of a former Negro League star, who had the most distinctive wind-up in baseball.
D-Train, Dontrell freaking Willis.
Al Hrabowski was great. The Mad Hungarian. He was a relief pitcher for the Cardinals. He had a big Fu Manchu, and he'd be behind the plate, and he's like, "Urgh," and he smacked the ball in his glove, and he'd come up, and he's just a left-hander just throwing fastballs. I don't even know how hard he threw. Probably maybe mid-90s. But, man, he looked like he threw the ball like 1,000 miles an hour. It was crazy, man. Pitchers were great back then. Goose Gossage, he had a great windup, too. Man, those guys could pitch.
Everybody thinks of the craziest windup they've seen in recent history for a good pitcher, Tim Lincecum. Right, if you're thinking of a bizarre windup, and even that was like a few years ago. Was that like, it's like 10 years since he was like, tippity top of the iceberg.
2010, 2011, he was like the best pitcher in the league.
Oh yeah, winning damn Cy Youngs.
Now, is he ever going into the Hall of Fame? No.
James F says, "Hey guys, the Sharks signed David Quinn."
they're really in the Shark Tank. High in college, Quinn.
Brian P said, not for nothing, TJ. Jimmy G had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left in the game. His defense could stop Patrick Mahomes late. Jimmy G would have won a Super Bowl.
He threw an interception and choked it away on a third down. He chicken armed the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a winner. He's a good regular season player. He'll get you regular season wins, but in a big game, I'm never taking him ever.
And the 49ers have such a loaded team, a much better defense than the Giants could even dream of, way better weapons, and a way better offensive line than the Giants could ever dream of. Every single piece that they've got is pretty much better than the Giants.
You have to wonder if that was the team that Brady was talking about when he said they kept that mother effer over me when he was a free agent.
Talk about the freaking Tom Brady again. Always finding a way, Grump.
Yeah.
Okay. Drew L said, Grump, TJ, I hope I get first in line for this fantasy league. I'll even pay you. No, we're not doing it in pay. It's just going to be a fun league.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we got it. Drew L said, Fournette also has work ethic issues. He's just not hungry.
Well, you really couldn't tell that by his weight.
That's what Joseph C was saying. Oh, Fournette is very hungry. Apparently showed up to voluntary mini camp at 260.
I'm sorry, you're a professional.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know what he's going to be at camp next week, but it's tough to lose 30 plus pounds in like a month.
I'm trying to see if I can find it. My God.
He looked like James Harden.
I'm trying to find an old picture of him. Give me a sec. Or a new picture of him, but
he got that contract and he went to the all-you-can-eat buffet every day.
Hold on a sec. This is okay. Here's one of him on June 8th. So this is not most recent of him. So who knows how much weight he's put on since this image.
Is shutting down the office for Mike's retirement party.
Get the hell out of here, Mike.
Well, June 8th. Party. No, that would have been around then, right?
June 8th?
Yeah. Isn't that when mini camp was? I don't know if that's when the picture was.
This is July 19th.
Not happy.
These are pictures from June 8th, I think.
He looks a little extra thick in the middle.
Leonard Fournette, number 7 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, walks with running back coach Todd McNair during the 2022 Buccaneers minicamp at Advent Health Training Center on June 8th, 2022 in Tampa, Florida. So he had another month and 10 days. So maybe he was weighing 240 here. Maybe that doesn't look like any two. He's tall, but he doesn't look 260 here.
He's only 6 foot.
No, he's taller than that.
He's 6 foot, maybe 6'1". I think he's 6 foot. He's not super tall.
Oh, he's only 6 foot.
There you go. 6 foot.
Wow.
260.
I can't imagine he's got too much speed in 260 pounds.
I'm going to bet not either. Maybe falling out of an airplane.
Jarrell said, I fault Kyle Shanahan for being a choke artist and not Jimmy Garoppolo. Ugh.
Yeah. All right. I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan's a choker too, but that's why him and Jimmy fit so well together.
James F. said, amen on Jimmy Plunkett, Grumpy.
I mean, he went through some tough times. Both his parents were blind, I believe. And, I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy coming out of Stanford University in his senior year. Archie Manning came in second. That's when the top of the draft, New England drafted Jim Plunkett. This was the 1971 draft. Jim Plunkett with the first overall pick. New Orleans picked Archie Manning, and Houston Oilers picked Dan Pastorini out of Santa Clara University. And in the second round or third round, they drafted Lynn Dickey out of Kansas. I mean, talk about two really good quarterbacks. And he had a good rookie year with New England, Plunkett did, but he wound up getting beaten up playing for shitty teams because when you were bad back then, the only way to improve your team was through the draft. And his top target was Randy Vataha, who also went to Stanford. He wound up getting traded to San Francisco. He got beat to hell there. And then the Raiders, Al Davis, traded for him, and he sat on the bench for 2 years before playing for the Raiders. And, I mean, he just had to get his mind back together. I mean, really quite a story if you ever look it up. And he led him to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, super happy for him. And I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, honestly. Really does.
James F said Derek Carr is a top 10 QB. Kyler Murray is overrated. I'm glad we're on the same page about the overrated part. Goon says, which Star Wars character is more of an abomination, the Ewoks or Jar Jar Binks?
Jar Jar Binks is the
Here's
worst.
the thing. Jar Jar Binks actually was he was actually the Emperor's master.
No.
I do firmly believe that. Yes.
Okay. Here's the thing I don't like about.
I've looked into some of the theories. I'm not going to get all nerdy about it, but you look at his ability to move. You look at. I'm telling you, he was a Sith. He was a Sith Lord.
The problem I had with Jar Jar Binks' character is he was stupid. He was just stupid.
He was stupid on purpose because he was a Sith Lord infiltrating Obi-Wan, grumpy old man, as well as Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm telling you, look it up. Look at the theories. I think Jar Jar may have been originally a Sith Lord, but director said he's too much of a big step in that direction. I can't do that.
Stupid. He was stupid.
That's why all of a sudden in episode 2, that's why in all of a sudden we get freaking Count Dooku.
Okay, I don't know why are you even talking about movies? You don't know anything. Move on.
I do know about Star Wars more than you, Grump.
Next comment.
Brian J says Giants have 6 to 7 wins.
Yeah, I don't see them winning 9 games.
No. Giants will have more wins than the Jets, though. I don't know.
I think both teams will be improved this year.
And that's the big thing. Jets' new mascot is the Cougar.
I love it.
Jill said, I'm sighing with you, Grump. That's no indication on Saquon Barkley to decide when he wants to perform. It's called a terrible quarterback, bad coaching, and a really awful offensive line.
True.
Here's the thing. He's a guy who catches the ball out of the backfield. How did you catching the ball out of the backfield last year? Didn't do that very well either. Doesn't take much to give a little dump off pass to your running back on a screen or a little dump off pass to him in the flats. Couldn't even do that last year. I'm telling you, Barkley's best season will be his rookie year. He'll never live up to that again. The sooner you come.
He had a historic year as a rookie.
Historic? No, Grumpy. Historic is rushing for 2,000 rushing yards in a year, like Chris.
How many times have guys rushed for 2,000 yards?
You said historic. You said historic. Rushing for 1,300 yards is not historic, man.
One of the greatest rookie years ever for running back. Period.
James F says the captain is the Jeter story.
Yes, I think that's multi-part.
Dan, the man fan, 44 says, for real, bunting seems to be a lost art. Shaking my head.
No one can move a batter over. They don't even work on it anymore. I remember the Yankees used to bring Phil Rizzuto, the scooter, into camp to teach guys bunting. He was a magician with the bunt.
James F said, I'm stunned how TJ knows about Star Wars since he doesn't watch movies. I watch Star Wars and I watch like the TV shows and all that type of stuff. I do like Star Wars. Something me and my wife like. We watch it. She was originally never watched Star Wars, like Star Wars. I'm like, okay, I can watch Star Wars. Drew L says, let's focus on last year, TJ. What about his joke year? Or what about his rookie year where his team was even competent? Again, his rookie year, he played well.
Better than well. He played better than well.
He had a fantastic rookie year.
That's
he played very well. He had a very great season.
There you go.
Okay, here's the thing, too. When you're coming in as a rookie, they don't know what to expect out of you as well. You also had those games as a rookie where he would have, I've got 37 rushing yards this game. Next game, I put up 215 on a few broken runs. He's a big boomer bust guy. He's not he'll never replicate that rookie year. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Again, that was a phenomenal year.
You're acting like Le'Veon Bell didn't rattle off multiple years like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give him. Okay, we've seen guys
look
even
at the team. Yeah, look at the team that Le'Veon Bell was playing for. Come on, you got to be kidding me. The first year he had 1,307 yards rushing, 5.0 average, 11 touchdowns, 91 catches, 721 yards, another 4 touchdown passes. That's a story. That's a great.
Not even as good as Christian McCaffrey's years in his prime. Not even as good as that. Look him up. Christian McCaffrey's a better back in his prime too, and that's my thing. That rookie year was Barkley's prime,
and he was
he's
hurt
a
the
back.
next
He's
year.
a really good back. What do you want me to tell you? His rookie year, he was a guy who was a top 10. Here's the thing: if you're in fantasy football, you can sure as hell bet I'm not wasting and pissing away an early first round pick on a guy like that.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, just let me know when you get back on those Le'Veon Bell stats how many years he did that in a row for.
Played for a way better team.
3,000 yards on that Steelers team. No,
that's right.
Maybe 4,000, Grumpy.
No, but I mean, he could have been close to 3. He could have been close to 2. The Giants were terrible that year.
Ooh, want to talk about this real quick? Kirby Smart, did you see that huge contract extension he just signed?
I'm glad there's no money in college football. Again,
I want you to listen to what Shannon Sharp said about it quickly. Kirby Smart, 10-year contract, $112.5 million.
And what was the reason why they weren't paying these athletes for years when you give away a contract like this? Okay.
Well, why don't you listen to this? I like this by...
Like what Kirby Smart said, or do you have problems with it?
I got a problem with it. Kirby, stop giving a damn like you pretending like you...
This was... Okay, gotcha. So this was yesterday. This was yesterday before he signed this big contract. Kirby Smart was saying this shit. This is from yesterday's Undisputed show.
Care what happened to these guys later in life. You got them for 3 to 4 years. That's what you care about. Winning national championship. Now, Kirby Smart didn't have a problem. He said, well, the young guys are coming in and they're making more than the older guys. Kirby Smart, first job as the college head coach, he made $3.75 million. Mark Richt, when he got fired after year 15, made $4.1. He ain't mentioned nothing about that. Young guy coming in making damn near as much as the older guys. It wasn't a problem. These college coaches, Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, all these guys got no problem with coach's salary going from $5, $6, $8, $10, $12 million a year. But the player get a little bit of money. So what that means, the little Dodge Chargers and Challengers that y'all been bringing in and the little back alley deals that y'all been doing ain't going to be good enough now. These guys said, okay, what you got for the NIL? I need $100,000. I need $500,000. Yeah. You got it or not? If I'm a college kid.
I think he's 100% right. Some of it takes I don't agree with Shannon Sharp, but this is 100% spot on.
I had not seen this. 100% right. Right? Isn't that what I said? Don't tell me they didn't even have the money to pay those kids. They're lying. They're lying. That's why
the reason they don't want it going up is because it's not as easy as it was before in the past. It's tougher. When you could have said, oh, here's the car, here's some money under the table. I don't have to pay because it's not public. And technically, I'm breaking the rules to do this for you. So, you know what I mean? Just take the money and be happy with it. Where now you can get paid. You can say, well, hold on a second. Yeah, a little Escalade or a little Dodge Charger or a Corvette and $100,000 on the table.
Escalade is not a Dodge Charger. Okay.
Whatever type of car they like. I don't care. I drive a Honda Civic. Whatever car people want.
I'm just saying that once again, you want to know why the NCAA didn't challenge when they said the NIL deals? Because they knew they were going to lose in court. They would have got trounced and it would have cost them even more money than the universities would have had to pay for these players. And
I think there will start being some sort of free agency. I think it will start changing a bit. But
I'm a 5-star recruit. The first thing I do before I start, I'm going to get me a tax attorney. Because you got taxes on that money too. That's what the guys are running. The problem is they think they get all this. I'm going to put $500,000, put $1 million in my pocket. No, you got to pay taxes. Even as an 18, 19-year-old, you got to pay taxes. I'm going to get me an attorney first. Then I'm going to start talking, okay, what you got for me? Georgia, what you got? Because let me tell you what Alabama said, they got 1.5 for me. You got 1.6? I'm negotiating. Just like you did, Kirby Smart, to get your deal at Georgia.
You did.
I just find it so crazy that they're talking about this. And I wonder what would have happened if this happened one day later, this conversation, where now instead Kirby Smart's got that $12.5 million a year deal, million dollar a year deal.
I'm going to bet that they talk about it tomorrow.
I would probably assume so as well, Grumpy. So I did find that funny. Huge contract for Kirby Smart. Huge contract. It's funny. We have people who go back and watch that national championship game. It's always like people are still watching it. And those Georgia fans, because we were openly saying Alabama was going to win. Those Georgia fans were so freaking butthurt. They all get so upset, Grumpy. I still get comments every once in a while from that video we did 5-6 months ago where it's like, oh, I can't believe you're talking poorly about Georgia. You guys don't know anything. And like those type of comments that come flooding in 6 months after the fact. I just can't help it.
I think I picked Georgia, didn't I?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. We both picked Alabama.
Okay. Good. I'm glad Georgia won, honestly. Kirby
It's
Smart
nice
could
seeing
never
a
get over.
different team win.
Yeah, well, Kirby Smart could never get over the hump. He'd lose in the big game always. But I'm glad they did. I was rooting for them. I really was.
So I want to show you this odd stat. Now, this is some NHL. We're going to talk a little NHL quickly here before we wrap the show up. Listen to this. So the Art Ross trophy winners from 1981 to 2001 over a 20-year span, all were 3 players, either Jaromir Jagr, Mario Lemieux, or Wayne Gretzky. How freaking nuts is that?
It just shows how they dominated their sport for that length of time. It's like tennis. If you look at tennis for like who's the best tennis player, for every year, for the longest time it was Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal. One of those 3 guys. Andy Murray snuck in for a couple of years, but still that's the case today. Young guys haven't been able to break through.
Absolutely. I thought you'd find that one kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And we've got to talk about it. Matthew Tkachuk not going to sign long-term with the Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames are going to be shipping him off. Where do you think Tkachuk's going, and what type of implication does this have?
I don't know where he's going. I know he won't be going to the Islanders, so I don't care. But they're going to get a nice chunk of change in return for him. They will get some talent in return. They have to be looking at draft picks. I mean, you don't want to get guys who are on expiring contracts, I don't think. They're going to look for some young pieces. That's what they want anyway.
You're going to look for pieces that are young, that are producing now, and draft picks. Like guys like Kyrou, guys like they're gonna look for those. If he's going right to the St. Louis Blues, you're gonna be looking for those young type of players who contribute. Yeah,
he's good, really, really good. Helps any team he's on. Plays a full 200-foot game, and he's got a little snarl to him. Every team needs a player like that. You love to play with him. You hate playing against him. Fan bases love him if he's on your team. You hate him if he plays against your team. 24 years old. You don't see guys like that get moved very often.
Yep. And again, like I could see maybe Kyrou, guys like Jordan Kyrou, like Colton Parayko. That was the name also I was blanking on. Those type of players, younger players who have performed, guys who have value like that. They're not going to say, oh, let me take on an aged veteran who's got 1 year left on his deal, like a Tarasenko, and then call that a deal. They're going to get a lot back in return for Matthew Tkachuk. You're right. He's the quintessential, hard nose, successful, get under your skin type of player, just like you said. Hate to play against them, love for him and be on your team. You're absolutely right. And players like that do not grow on trees in today's game.
I could see them moving Cairo, but I'd be hesitant to get rid of Parayko too. He's their best defenseman. He's their number 1. I mean, that's an awful lot to give up. And then draft picks too. We'll see. Here's the thing. I'll be interested to find out how much he gets.
Absolutely. But Grumpy, man, we're here at the end of the show. What do you want to say before we wrap things up today?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and a grumpy old man.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you're new to the show, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. Also, leave and drop a little thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed the content. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you again for your time, grumpy old man.
My pleasure.
Ooh, Drell said, by the way, rumors off. Donovan Mitchell is looking like he's going to be a Knicks. Looks like he's going to be the Knicks. Well, there you go. Hiring his dad as your coach has paid off. But
usually does.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Grump. We'll see you guys Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a great Friday and a fantastic weekend.